Welcome everybody to this special share. Every Tuesday night we have a share in Chassidus in English. This time we've started a new course.
Special.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's always special. And tonight we're starting a new course all about 770, as we're going to explain in a moment, a few words of introduction. Firstly, I'd like to mention that this course is being dedicated to the refuah shalema of my dear mother, Rechavia bat Chayasara. She should have refuah shalema. She loves this sikha of the Rebbe. So this is, when she heard that I'm doing this, she was very excited. She said, bingo. Okay, so also this is being dedicated in honor of the success of all of our soldiers and the quick return and healthy return of all of our hostages. Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm happy to share with you amazing news that my brother Moshe David surprised us when I was in Toronto with my parents for a week. Smack in the middle of the week, a Friday morning, he just showed up.
From where?
From here. He was in Gaza for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
He was fighting for Am Yisrael. And he was released a week and a half ago, or almost 2 weeks ago, actually on his birthday. And a person's birthday is Mazalo Gover, the Mazel, the fortune is strengthened. So Baruch Hashem, I'm happy to be able to share with you good news, and we should always be able to share with each other good news.
Amen.
On the basic level, the reason why I chose this subject, soon we're going to get into this specific talk from the Rebbe, is because unfortunately 770 has been in the news for the past week. You see, I was in New York.
And you didn't know.
I was in New York a day after this whole thing broke out, and unfortunately, just 1 second, please. Unfortunately, I was unable to go inside 770, so I went by 770 and I touched the cornerstone that's right outside that the Rebbe himself lifted when they expanded 770. But I feel that as a shliach from the Rebbe, I have the obligation to share good energy, especially about such a great place like 770. So I made a little video about 56 seconds, and if you didn't get it yet, you're welcome to send me a message and I'll be happy to send it to you. Just a nice positive thing.
When was it sent out?
I didn't really send it out. I put it on my status.
It's not actually 770, it's a nearby building.
It's so good question. 770 is the building with the 3 points, the 3 trial points, and next to that is 788. That's where the offices of Chabad headquarters are, and the huge downstairs is the massive Shul of the Rebbe's Shul. But the original building is at 770, and that's what I wrote in the advertisement, that there are replicas around the world. So even in Israel, we have in Kfar Chabad, of course, we have in Jerusalem, we have 2. One in Ramat Shlomo. You can see it when you're going to Ramot. It's red bricks. It sticks out from the whole Ramat Shlomo mountain. You also have one. My friend Rabbi Kurtz was a shliach in Pisgat Ze'ev. He also I was there at the opening. It's a little bit reddish. It's very complicated to do red over here because there's a law. You have to have Jerusalem stone. But in any case, it's I wish we could have a 770. Hopefully one day. I'm being recorded. Yes. Mitzveh Rimon. We have Kiryat Ata. You have, I think, in Beersheba, I think you have one. There are a number of them over here. There's a massive one in California, Chabad, Rabbi Kunan's California. I think it's a whole block of 770 with a bunch of these. That's Rabbi Kunan style. You have Argentina as a beautiful 770. Where else? I don't remember by heart all the 770s, but Afula. Okay, thank you. So the big question is, what's the big deal? For heaven's sakes, okay, so it's a building. Okay, it's the Rebbe's Shul. Fine, but why make such a big thing out of it and make a replica? What's the point? So hopefully at the end of the course, we'll get back to this question. I think you're going to be able to answer the question on your own. This question on your own, I think. But I'm happy to discuss it. But there's no question that just thinking about the fact that this is a building that the previous Rebbe purchased, I believe it was in 1941, maybe even in 1940. At the time, it was a women's hospital, and the previous Rebbe purchased this. It was right across the street from the Brooklyn Jewish Center, which today is a Chabad yeshiva called Olei Torah. I learned there. And so this is a great zechut. It's a great privilege to learn about the building, to know about the building, let alone the countless hours of Farbrengens that the Rebbe did, and Torah talks, and giving out dollars to thousands, sometimes many thousands every Sunday for 8 years. So just do the math. I mean, an unbelievable amount of mitzvahs, an unbelievable amount of light being projected to the entire world from this building, literally to the entire world. So there's got to be something really, really special about this building. Here's an interesting story that I heard from Rabbi Shem Tov. Someone just walked into Chabad about 2 hours ago, and he became close to Chabad, to Judaism, through Rabbi Shem Tov in Philadelphia. So he's a very, very smart man, Rabbi Shem Tov, one of the earlier shluchim. And one time he brought a group of his balabatim, of supporters, to see Chabad World Headquarters. And they said, they came downstairs, and now they've already done it, but it used to be, whatever, it wasn't bad. It's just like, you can imagine a place where it was very common that 10,000 Hasidim are dancing over there and having Farbrengens, just imagine, for decades. So naturally there's a wear and tear. And so they said to him, this is 770? So he very wisely said, every building has a boiler room. Now the boiler room is usually on the lower floor. It's not exactly tiles, not exactly painted. It doesn't even have lights. It's just a boiler room, and it has the whole system, the source of heat for the whole building. Look at that. This building 770 brings the heat for the entire world, and so it's whatever. So it's just a cute story about trying to put things into perspective. That on one hand, it's an international place, not only literally but also spiritually. Spiritually, it literally brings the fire, the warmth of Yiddishkeit to the entire world. And I think it's very important to spend a few minutes on explaining this, because of course I'm not getting away from what happened, but the picture that I think it's my obligation to project is a positive one, and one of holiness and light, because that's really what it is on a major global scale. Okay, so if you heard it, you probably heard what I'm going to say now. You probably heard it in much more detail, and you probably heard things that are totally distorted. But I'm going to try to give it to you in a nutshell, because I don't like to expand on the negativity. But I'll give it to you in a nutshell. If you didn't hear about it, it's even better. Hope you don't even hear what I'm saying now. Just turn your technical hearing off and turn it right back on as soon as I'm finished. But basically there were a small group of young yeshiva students that it was a mixture between two things. Number one, during the corona, they probably it wasn't there, I'm just telling you what I heard. They probably wanted to be connected to 770, and so they found a neighboring building, and they were able to dig a small walkway into 770, even when the official policy was that buildings need to be locked. They found a way to get in. You came at the perfect time. How are you, Aryalev? Please pass Aryalev this. You're welcome to put your name on it, as everyone else. And so that's number one. That's number one. Number two, as you'll see in the continuation of this essay from the Rebbe, that the Rebbe always dreamt to expand 770. In fact, in the beginning, this coming Shabbos, we're going to celebrate Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat, parenthetically, is the day of the previous Rebbe's Yahrzeit, and our Rebbe assumed leadership unofficially at the same moment that his father-in-law passed away, but officially a year later, exactly on the 10th of Shvat, 1951. And so, you can imagine, Chabad, hundreds of thousands of people, probably millions of people associate themselves and consider themselves to be followers of Chabad in some way, shape, or form. Can you guess how many people were there at the Rebbe's opening Farbrengen, opening ceremony, giving his what's the first speech that you give as being an inaugural speech. Thank you. Can you only imagine? It was upstairs in that original building of 770. And there's, when you walk in, to the left is the Rebbe's office. To the right is a very small shul. Probably the size of this room. So how many people maximum can you think can fit into this room? Well, Baruch Hashem, we always say over here at Chabad, the more people you have, the more people can fit in, and the more room there is. That we're like the Beis HaMikdash. But basically, you're talking between 50 to 75 people max. That was Chabad of Crown Heights of Brooklyn in the 1940s, early 50s.
But there weren't that many people either.
You're right, but I'm just saying it puts things into perspective. Look at the extreme spectrum from 1950 to 2024. It's incomparable. This is 2018. This is just a shluchim. The Baruch Hashem, around 3,500 to 4,000 shluchim posing for the traditional picture. And after the class, you can try to find me. Good luck.
I found you.
I know. Okay, so Baruch Hashem, they all have black hats. Just look for the guy with the
And beard.
That's right. And so that was in the beginning. Then they had like for the sukkah, they had, if you know 770, when you're facing 770 to the left, there's a little driveway, and before that was connected to 788. There was a long driveway, and that's where the sukkah was. The Rebbe would do also during the year different farbrengens outside sometimes. And then I believe it was, I'm not sure exactly, something to the effect of we're probably saying around 1960. That was connected to the downstairs, but the downstairs was small. This I know for sure. In 1970, they opened up the wall separating between 770, of course officially, all the way till it's a massive room. I really hope, Bezrat Hashem, we should be able to have a trip. I've been dreaming about this for a number of years, to have a trip to 770 and the Rebbe's Ohel and other great places in Crown Heights and around. But don't worry, once again, I'm being recorded. This is a real share. So if anybody wants, what?
A Chabad trip?
Yeah, Chabad Rechavia trip. I really want to do something like that. It'll be really. Sorry?
NACHLAOT.
Of course, NACHLAOT. just look at your profile picture.
And Muncie.
In Muncie, actually, I did one. I used to be a shliach in New City, and I remember a couple of times I brought a group of people to Crown Heights. It was a tremendous trip. It was an excellent trip. It was obviously a Sunday afternoon, but we should definitely do it. Hopefully, I want to do it last year. Mitzvah Hashem soon. There are a lot of big things happening now, Bezrat Hashem. So when things get into the routine, then hopefully we'll be able to do that. And so all I'm saying is that there were stages in how 770 was expanded. Then came Tafshin Memchet, Elul, right before Rosh Hashanah, 1988. And the Rebbe spoke about expanding 770. And so David Chase, of blessed memory, was the head of the Machane Israel, wealthy people that would give a large amount of money to the Rebbe on a regular basis. So David Chase, shalom, shalom. Have a seat, there's a chair right over here. So David Chase invited the Rebbe officially to come to the ceremony of laying down the cornerstone of the expansion of 770. That's the cornerstone that I mentioned earlier that the Rebbe himself lifted. And so the Rebbe said something very interesting. The Rebbe said, if you'll say a few words in Yiddish, you'll speak a few words in Yiddish, I'll come. Apparently his parents spoke Yiddish, and apparently the Rebbe saw that as being, here, please pass this to me. You're welcome to write your name on it. Apparently the Rebbe saw this as connecting Mr. Chase to his past on a greater level. If he gets connected, you ever heard the song from Moshe Yes, for example? My Zaidi made us laugh, da 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 da, Zaidi made us sing. So he talked about his Zaidi, how he didn't remember much about his upbringing, but his Zaidi, bringing in authentic Judaism, that's what inspired him to be connected more to Hashem. So basically the Rebbe said he'll come. There's a beautiful video, we should show it. Hope you know what, Bli Neder, I'm going to try to find the video. Maybe for one of these next classes, we'll try to show the video. And you can see the Rebbe, the Rebbe first asked him to say a few words, and he says to the Rebbe the shortest speech ever. Rebbe, ich lieb dir. Rebbe, I love you. In front of hundreds of Chassidim. That was his speech. So it was short and sweet to the point. And the Rebbe had a beautiful smile. He was so happy. The Rebbe said a beautiful talk about how important it is to expand the shul. Also, you can see in the video that the Rebbe himself used the shovel to dig a little hole for the rock. And the Rebbe bent down. The Rebbe at the time was, if I remember correctly, approximately 87, 86. The Rebbe bent down, and the Chassidim, right around the Rebbe, they wanted to help. The Rebbe was really upset at them. I want to do it myself. I want the zchut. I want the honor, the privilege of laying down the cornerstone. The Rebbe bent down, picked it up, and put it inside that hole that he had dug a moment earlier. So this is really, really special. And so we were talking about, in short, about the bit of negative news that had been going around. So just to close up this point, there are some young people, a small group, mark my words, a small group of young lads that decided that since the Rebbe wants to expand 770, by the way, they did expand in 1991, they expanded the whole downstairs, they have a big hall downstairs, and a number of other things. So they did make a big expansion as a result of the Rebbe's laying down the cornerstone. And also, the Rebbe set a number of conditions that he allows 770 to be expanded. One of them I remember is that 770 should be open 24/7. Is that interesting? And that's why I take from this that I believe that a Chabad house should also be open as much as possible, 24/7. I wish. Shalom, Rabbi Diamond. I wish we could, and in a sense we are open. By the way, if we're talking already about being open, a number of times that we had some kind of terror, unfortunately, over here in front of Chabad, was with ripping up our pamphlets, and it was about 3 or 4 times. Each time was very interesting. Each time, it wasn't just smashing a window. Baruch Hashem, no window smashed. But you see the hatred in the video of the guy. In one instance, for 2 minutes, which is a long time. When someone does something wrong, you usually do something in 5 or 6 seconds, and you run away. For 2 minutes, it's on the watch, ripping, and he's looking, and he's ripping, and he walks away like. Anyways, I don't want to focus on the negative, but I thought to myself, and I wrote an article about it. You can read it.
That chemical on the.
That's right. That was the first one. That was the first guy. So I wrote an article afterwards, in Hebrew on COL Live. And I wrote over there that it seems to be that we're being attacked by what keeps us open 24/7. Anytime I'm here, and sometimes I'm here at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., it's amazing to see the different colors, different types of people that come, and they take the L'chaim, they take the Living Jewish, they take the Sichat HaShavua, they take the French one. It's amazing. This is really, even when the doors are locked, but I think it's important to be open 24/7. And in my article, I wrote it last year, I encouraged every Chabad house, I encouraged every Chabad shul, and I encouraged every shul in the world to have a little slot there for people to take Torah papers. We have so many of the leaflets. What's the big deal? And I think it's when you see that the negativity is being strong, then I think we need to use it as an opportunity to know how to become better and how to add more light to the world. And so 770 at the time in 1991 was added onto that. And so unfortunately, there's literally a handful of guys who took it into their own hands of deciding to expand 770. Now, where they can expand, it's ludicrous. You have to get permits. It could be, God forbid, it could be dangerous. There are answers from the Rebbe, even though it's obvious, but I saw clear in the last week. I saw clear answers from the Rebbe that the gabbais of 770 wanted to expand 770. And the Rebbe says, I don't remember hearing anything from the Agudat Chasdei Chabad. Agudat Chasdei Chabad is the umbrella organization of worldwide that owns 770. So the Rebbe is basically saying, and this is the gabbais, they're pretty official now, but the owners of the Rebbe says, I expect, if you want to, it's a nice thing to expand, but I want to hear something from the leader, whether it's Rabbi Krinsky or Rabbi And the other Rabbi Grinsky is the chairman. So or whoever it is, Rabbi Chatikov at the time. I want to see something official. So what I'm trying to say is that literally. It's a small handful of people that unfortunately did not act properly, and they did not act respectful when the police came. Even if someone did something wrong, when the police comes, you need to act. Unfortunately, you don't do that. You have to act. You have to act properly. There's a law and order. So it's important that I do say this, even though we're not going to focus on the negative. I have to address it because it's a fact. That's what happened. And one more thing, that some people try to make it as if there are two factions in Chabad, and this one is against this one. I can tell you factually that on quote unquote, if there are two aisles on both sides of the aisle, everyone in Chabad is extremely upset at the way these guys have been acting. It's literally a handful. I don't know if it's 30 or 35 or 50. It doesn't matter when you're talking about tens of thousands of people that live in Crown Heights. When you're talking about hundreds of thousands, Baruch Hashem, Ken Yirbu, and perhaps millions around the world. 40, 50, 60 is a very, very small number. In that video, I think there were only 30 or 40. It's irrelevant. The number is irrelevant. The point is that it's a small handful. And it's unfortunate that the news likes to pick up on extremism. That's what they like to do. And it's a pity. And I pray to Hashem every day that the people, the millions and maybe more of people that saw this video or pictures, that they have the state of mind and the open-mindedness to say, you know what, this can't be right. This can't be true. You know, I have a rabbi, I have a friend that's Chabadnik. Let me ask him what's going on over here. And then in 5 seconds, I'll get an answer, and he'll see the statement that Rabbi Krinsky put out denouncing that. And hopefully, let's just close this chapter up to say that, let's, please God, hopefully from this, there's no question that 770 needs to be expanded big time. So hopefully this should be a bracha. Actually, tonight there's a lecture up the block by in Hebrew, a guy that I met him actually. I met the guy. His first name is Yehuda. And the Rebbe, in 1990 or 91, there were a few architects, this is fascinating, I think, a few architects that drew a facade of how they want 770 to be, and the Rebbe wanted only his. The Rebbe called him to New York. He was there for, I think, a half a year. He moved. Chabad moved him, and he worked on a big project. At the end, it didn't materialize. It's gorgeous. I actually have it. Someone sent me a picture of it. If you want to see it after the class, maybe I'll send you a picture for the because it's good to see what the Rebbe chose. I think it's pretty cool, and so maybe we can put it on the edited. But I think it's nice to see. I'm happy to send it to you if you want. But I hope the point is clear. I hope the point is clear that 770, as I spoke for several minutes, all the way at the beginning of the class, about how special this building is, and now let's read about what the pnimiyut, what's the inner meaning of 770. We're even going to see that 770 has a special numerical value. And not only a special numerical value, it's connected with the whole with the whole ruach, spirit of Chabad, outreach. Not only that, you would think that maybe the previous Rebbe built this building, built all the other 700 buildings till they came to 770 and shows, okay, it's 770, so let's set up shop over here because of the number. That's what it sounds. Obviously, I don't think that's the case, but everything is divine providence, and the Rebbe will always find a connection, whether in the numbers or in the style, that it's connected to outreach. Okay, page 11, introduction. Temple and exile. Basically, what we're going to learn now is, in the introduction and much more in the essence, we're going to learn about the concept of a Beit HaMikdash, a holy temple, the role that every shul in the world plays with regards to the Beit HaMikdash, especially now there's no Beit HaMikdash anymore, and especially, here's the main point, that there is one, please listen closely, there is one main shul in Chutz La'aretz, abroad, in the diaspora, which basically contains within itself the importance and the greatness of the Beit HaMikdash. And when Mashiach comes, these are heavy words. This is from the Talmud, basically. When Mashiach comes, the Beit HaMikdash is going to go to that main shul, connect to it, and together they're going to come here right here up the block to the Har HaBayit, to the Temple Mount.
Okay.
So this is big stuff, and this is the name of this essay discourse is called Beit Rabbeinu Shebebavel. It's a quote from the Talmud. Beit Rabbeinu Shebebavel, the home, the house or the shul of our rabbi in Bavel, in Babylon. That was the center of Judaism in the diaspora in the times of the Talmud, and between, well, first of all, between the first Beit HaMikdash and the second Beit HaMikdash, and even afterwards. So this was the center. So it's a quote. It's like a phrase that the main shul in Bavel, in exile, in Galut, is that place, wherever it is, where the third Beit HaMikdash is going to come, and from there it's going to come to Eretz Yisrael. Okay, there is a remarkable teaching in the Talmud. Wherever the Jewish people were exiled, the Shekhinah, the divine presence, resided with them. Jerusalem was destroyed, our temple burned to the ground, and our people were sent into exile, unfortunately. But the Shekhinah, the divine presence, continues to dwell among us, even in the darkest moments. So let's think about it yourself. Where do we have the Shekhinah? Where can you think of the Shekhinah being today? Please, give me some options.
In any shul,
Yafeh, in any shul. Any other options?
In our home?
In our homes, beautiful. I was going to get to that. I'm very happy. Yes. Any other options? Yeshivot, excellent. That's where Torah is being learned. And the kollel, Torah is being learned all day. Very good. How about the kotel? Okay, the kotel is not a bad place. The kotel is on a global level. That's, if there's one place or a handful of places in the world that you feel the energy, the spirituality is right here at the kotel.
4 holy cities.
That's right, 4 holy cities. There are many levels. Well, that's a question of opinion. But maybe you mean Bet Knesset. Maybe you mean that. That's for sure. So I want to elaborate, please, on what Aryeh Leib said. Aryeh Leib said a very profound statement. Every home. What does that mean? A home is a shul? Why is a home a shul? On the contrary, where do you go to eat? The pretty mundane stuff. Where do you go to sleep? Pretty mundane stuff. Where do you go? You go home. Or there's an expression, make yourself at home. It's not always good to say that, because some people make themselves too much at home. But make yourself, what's home? Where your person feels comfortable, not always sacred, not always divine. So what does that mean that a home is a Beit HaMikdash? The answer is a very profound... You want to answer the question, or
I mean, in your home, you daven, you make all kinds of brachos. It's a holy place.
Okay, so you're a spiritual...
You do all kinds of mitzvos.
Excellent. Achnasat orchim. Excellent. So you're a spiritual person. I'm trying to bring that point out. But in order to bring the point out, I'm asking the question. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. So you have, for example, daven. Most people will say, daven in home. If you daven at home, it's like plan B. I'm just trying to emphasize the question. It's not a bad thing. Don't worry. It's not. I'm just trying to emphasize why a home is so special. And like, as you said, a home is special because there are so many mitzvot that can be done in the home. Not only can be done, but here's the point, should be done in the home. Exactly, should be done in the home. So the Rebbe would speak often about having in the kitchen, women should have a siddur. The Rebbe spoke about taking this is interesting. It's called Korban Mincha. We don't even use it, but it's a siddur in Yiddish. Probably because many years ago, that was the spoken language, I don't know, in Poland and Hungary, that was the spoken language. And so Korban Mincha, even now, even though most women don't even speak, maybe they do, but it's definitely not in major conversation. Don't even speak Yiddish, but the Rebbe said we should have that, or an English siddur, in the kitchen. That's where it should be. And also the Rebbe talked about having a pushka, a kupat tzedakah, a charity box, not only in the kitchen, but bolted into the wall. When you bolt it in, the Rebbe said, then it's not just 4 walls with a charity box in it, but the charity box becomes part of the building. The building becomes the holy building. I think it's a beautiful concept. So it's a question of putting a couple of screws into into the wall, and there you have a holy building. The Rebbe talked about children having in their room Sfarim, you have a Chitat, which is the book of the Chumash, Tehillim, and Netanya, all in one. They should have their own pushka in their room, and if they have other Sifrei Kodesh in a room of a married couple, it's not appropriate to have a Sifrei Kodesh unless it's wrapped up or covered over in a double covering. Even a mezuzah should not be in a married couple's room. In other words, you have to make sure that it should be either on the other side, on the doorpost, but on the other side of the door, so when the door is closed, the mezuzah itself is not in the room. And if it is, it has to be double wrapped in a way that it's not the regular wrapping. So it should definitely not be lucite, that's for sure. But even within the lucite, it has to be wrapped with another covering, which is not the typical way that you would cover the wrap a mezuzah with. But a child, there's no reason. I think it's a great chinuch, great education for a child to grow up that in their room they have Torah books. That's a way that they're not only taught about learning Torah, but when they go to sleep, when they wake up in the morning, they wake up with Torah books at their windowsill. I think it's a beautiful way of education. And so I'm just expanding up, and as we said about achnasat orchim, bringing guests, there are many ways that we can do. We can make our home into a holy place, into a divine sanctuary. So while it may not classically be considered to be a Beit Knesset or a yeshiva or a Chabad house, when you talk about a home, we have to try to find ways to make it holy. Just today, someone asked me to come to their home and do a Chanukat Habayit, to do an inauguration of their new home. And so we're talking about the Sfaradim have very elaborate customs. And Chabad is quite simple. You come together, you put up the mezuzah, you have a farbrengen. So one of the nice customs, I believe it's from the previous Rebbe that instituted it, is to bring young children into the home and do a farbrengen with them, or they should say Torah passages. Isn't that a nice way to inaugurate a home? Yes. Once again, we're talking about making a home into a Torah place, into a spiritual place. So here we go. You have a home which typically is not, it's just four walls or whatever, but you have an opportunity to build it and to make to bring the spirituality into the home. So we have to always try to find this opportunity and make it happen. Any questions before we go on? Yes?
So what happens when the third temple is here? What happens?
Excellent question. We're going to talk about that. I believe it's in the Talmud. For sure the Rebbe discusses it. Basically what's going to happen is that all of the shuls, and for that matter all of the Jewish homes that have been made into spiritual sanctuaries, all the shuls are going to fly to Yerushalayim and are going to be connected to the Beit HaMikdash. That's why I say we're the closest full-fledged Chabad center to the Beit HaMikdash. We're going to be pretty close. That's why I tell everybody I'm saving a box seat for everybody around the world to come right here, because you want to be close to the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Holy of Holies. Come right here to Chabad of Rechavia and NACHLAOT. NACHLAOT is actually 5 meters closer to, I think, but it depends how you cut the cake. Yeah. But. Yes, it's a great question, but that's what's going to happen. The holiness is going to all be connected. And that's why I said earlier that the third Beit HaMikdash is going to come down to the main shul in the diaspora, wherever it is, and together it will come to right here, Yerushalayim, to the Beit HaMikdash, to the Temple Mount, and obviously that's going to the main shul in the diaspora is going to be the closest possible to the Beit HaMikdash itself. That's what's called Beit Rabbeinu Shul. We're going to see soon. Okay, sure. Well, let's leave that for other times. The Alter Rebbe.
Become more observant.
That's for sure. But he'd asked about the building, not about the people. So the Alter Rebbe was, when he was taken into custody, and they asked him a list of 21 questions. He answered all the questions. Excellent. When he came to the 21st question, he smiled. I will tell you what the question is. He smiled, and that was his answer. So sometimes a smile is enough. In the end of the first chapter in the Tanya, it says about the chesed of Am Yisrael. It talks about the animals, first animal soul, then he starts getting into the godly soul, and in chapter 2 he expands on the godly soul. So he quotes a Talmud. It's a Gemara that says it. It's not the Alter Rebbe, but he quotes it that says that based on a verse that any kindness that a Gentile does is not real kindness; is just to solve their own self something like that. And so it was a quote from the Talmud, but they asked him, "How could you write such a thing? That you're basically saying that the all of us, all those that were interrogating, all the interrogators, that's how they feel. It's like an embarrassment for us." So he smiled, and I think it was the previous Rebbe that explained the smile. Basically, the smile was, I just answered for you the first 20 questions perfectly, you understood everything. Do you really, really want me to explain to you how the difference between the chesed of a Jew versus a Gentile? What's the difference? Everyone keep doing their own good stuff. And if you understand a little bit less, it's okay, nothing is going to hurt. Believe me, I have a good answer, and there's no point in discussing it. Anyways, some questions are self-understood the answer, but thank you. Every question is welcome. Ovadia, don't worry. Every question is welcome. Okay, the end of the fourth line. But the Shekhinah okay, introduction, page 11. Page 11, the end of the fourth line. But the Shekhinah, the divine presence, continues to dwell among us even in the darkest moments. And where the Shekhinah dwells, the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, stands. Because that's what the Beit HaMikdash is all about. There's actually a discussion between the Rambam, Maimonides, and the Ramban, Nachmanides. What is the main purpose of the Beit HaMikdash? According to the Rambam, Maimonides, the main purpose of the Beit HaMikdash is to bring korbanot, to bring offerings. We're not allowed to bring offerings anywhere else, even in Yerushalayim. Once the Beit HaMikdash is built, only over there. The Ramban says that the main purpose of the Beit HaMikdash is the Shekhinah, the divine presence, should be there. Now, obviously, the Rambam also agrees that the Beit HaMikdash plays a major role in bringing the Shekhinah into the world. No question about that. The question is just technically what's the main function of the Beit HaMikdash, of the Holy Temple. And this is a main point, but the Shekhinah, the divine presence, through the Beit HaMikdash, we have also a great Gilui Shekhinah, revelation of the divine presence in all of Jerusalem, in the entire Israel, and in the entire world. But it all comes from the Beit HaMikdash. Indeed, just as in Jerusalem, the Shekhinah had a home, a physical structure that housed it, so too, in exile, this is the key for the whole essay. The Shekhinah has a home. Even in exile, it makes sense, right? You have to have a source in Eretz Yisrael, in Yerushalayim, and also in Galut. In the words of Yechezkel Ezekiel, I have given them a small temple in the lands where they arrived. Vahilahem mikdash ma'at. If there are two words that are the key words of, excuse me, please. The key words of this essay is mikdash ma'at, a small temple. In other words, just like there is this phenomenon of a temple in Yerushalayim, also there's a temple in Chutz La'aretz, in the diaspora, in the Galut. There's also a temple, and it makes sense, as we're going to see later on, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that when Mashiach comes, not only He's going to bring us back here, but He is going to come with us, so to speak. Hashem is never in exile, never in Galut. Hashem cannot be limited by anything. Hashem is the supernal being. But so to speak, Hashem puts Himself, if we can say so, that's the only way that we can, as human beings, can explain it. He puts Himself, so to speak, in the situation, being with us. Imo anochi b'tzara. Hashem says, I want to be with Am Yisrael in their times of trouble, and I'm going to come back with them when. He doesn't want to be like someone that's just he just tells others what to do, or his children unfortunately are far, as the expression goes, far from the table of the parent. No, he's a parent that wants to be with the child. If the child is in despair, the parent wants to be with the child. The child should not be alone until they come back home. And so this is the phenomenon of having a mikdash, albeit mikdash ma'at, a small mikdash, but nonetheless it still is a mikdash, it still is a sanctuary. Okay, page 12. But the lands where they arrived are vast, where within them does this divine abode, this small temple exist? That's a magical question. Okay, if there's no Beit HaMikdash, at least reveal to me where is the Mikdash Ma'at, the small Beit HaMikdash in the Galut. It says, since the day of the Beit HaMikdash, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed on Tisha B'Av, declares the Talmud, God has nothing in His world except for the 4 cubits of Torah law. That is the fixed place from which Torah instruction issues forth to the people of the city. It's a quote. So in other words, similar to what Blima said, that the yeshivas, the shuls, that is a mikdash. That is a sanctuary. So where is the Kodesh Baruch Hu found, so to speak? Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. That's everywhere. But nonetheless, there's no question that He's perhaps more revealed in a Torah learning environment. Some degree of Torah instruction issues forth from every shul and study hall, yeshiva. Hence, the Shekhinah abides to some extent in all of them. According to the Talmud, however, here's the key, however, one unique place serves as the main divine abode in exile. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's a fascinating concept. It's a new concept. This is the Beit Rabbeinu, quote, Beit Rabbeinu Shebebavel, the home of our Rebbe in Bavel, the house of our teacher, the holy sanctuary of the Nasi Ador, the leader of the generation, the foremost Torah sage and spiritual leader of the generation. I think it's very, very, very logical and self-understood. So that this is going to be, we're laying down the roots, the foundation for this essay about why it's so important to realize that there is a source of Beis HaMikdash in the diaspora too. Next part. Linking the sanctuaries. We are taught that at the time of redemption, the revelation of the Shekhinah will return to Jerusalem. This is what Chanoch mentioned. It will not remain in those places where the Jewish people had been exiled. It's going to come back to Yerushalayim, because that's the source. You can't get lost. It's very nice that there's also Mikdash Shema'at over there. Well, it can't get lost. Ultimately, it's over here, Yerushalayim. This is where the gold is. Thus, the synagogues and study halls of exile, which house the Shekhinah, will relocate to Yerushalayim, where they will be attached, hear this? Quote, attached to the Beis HaMikdash. Okay, this is from the Maharsha, in the Tractate Megillah, and regarded as part of the Beit HaMikdash. So it's not just they're going to be attached to the Beit HaMikdash. Once they're attached to the Beit HaMikdash, they're basically considered part of it. So it's going to be one massive, huge Beit HaMikdash.
No more Arab quarters.
Very good analogy. Perhaps this explains what it means that it says in the Medrash, something to the effect of, that when Mashiach comes, the Beit HaMikdash will become the entire Jerusalem. The current Jerusalem will be the entire Israel, and the current Israel will be the entire world. The whole world will be elevated at least one level more. Now we understand why. Because once there are so many shuls, it's going to be huge. Jerusalem, the Beis HaMikdash is going to be unbelievably. Just think about all the beautiful shuls there are around the world, the old shuls that there are. It's amazing.
So it's going to be one shul. Everyone's going to go to
One. I would like to, unlike the famous joke with the one shul that I do daven in, because of the one shul that I don't daven in. So there's not going to be another choice. So hopefully this atmosphere in Eretz Yisrael of brotherly love hopefully continues. Be'ezrat Hashem.
How could you have one shul?
Why not?
Chabad will go to Satmar shul? Or
What a question. The Talmud talks about the big shul of Alexandria in Egypt. It was so large that until a certain part they could hear the Chazan when he said the Kaddish. But when it got so far, they couldn't even hear the Chazan. So they had a massive flag that the last guy that could hear it put up. And 1 second, we're not over yet. Then whoever saw the flag, they could see, but they were so far that some people couldn't even see the flag anymore. So they had to have another flag, and this happened several times. Just think about how massive this shul was. It's wild. So I mean, 770. When there's a good chazan, you can hear at the back of 770. I heard so many times. You hear the chazan when it's totally quiet, and believe me, it can be totally quiet. And you hear the chazan all the way to the back. That's the back of 770. We're talking about such a massive shul that who knows how big it was. The Talmud says this. What? At least wishful thinking. At least let's hope for it. At least let's try. I think we have to try.
And wishful thinking, I would hope that these shuls that come here are also the destroyed ones from Europe.
For sure. Actually, I was going to finish with that, so I'm going to mention that question now.
temple will be on the model of the first temple or the second?
That's a great question. It's going to be made up. It's going to have the advantages. Each one had its own specialties, and it's going to be made up of the beauties of both of them together. It's going to be merged together. So I want to think this is a great way to finish the shir. There was a Rav. I believe the story happened with. I heard the story from Rabbi Beryl Lazar, chief rabbi of Russia, and it's an amazing story. I believe it was Rabbi Pinchas Teitz, who was a non-Chabad, a very, very respectable rabbi in Philadelphia. The Rebbe was very close to him. The Rebbe sent him to Russia in the 70s, for sure the 80s, when it was still closed, and he did a lot of things. Sometimes he went himself to Russia, and the Rebbe found out he didn't tell a soul, because you couldn't tell anybody. And the Rebbe's secretary said, the Rebbe is calling you. He knew right away. And the Rebbe would send certain things with him because he had a special... Anyways, so one time he came back to the Rebbe. He would come to the Rebbe and give a report of what he did for the Rebbe. He would bring tefillin and mezuzot and sidurim and tanyas. A lot of amazing stories. So this is an amazing story. He tells the Rebbe that, these shuls are very, very old. And there are several Torahs in every shul. He said, I suggest to the Rebbe that the Rebbe should come out with a campaign to save the Torahs. Let's get all the Torahs together and let's ship them out to Israel, to America, to Europe, wherever. Listen to this. This is an amazing story. The Rebbe got very serious. The Rebbe looked out the window. There was a ray of sun. The Rebbe looked, I think it was in the wee hours of the morning. It was just like sunrise. Because the Rebbe would do Yechidus the whole night. The sun had just been coming. The Rebbe, that's why he tells the story. The Rebbe looked right as if looking into the far distance. The Rebbe became serious and he said like this: there's going to be a time not too far away that not just are we going to use all the Torahs that are there, but we're going to have to bring new Torahs, additional Torahs, because there are going to be so much Jewish activities in Russia that we're going to need more Torahs. I personally know a guy who used to have a place right across the street. He's from Siberia. He bought a new Torah. He kept the Torah right here in our own Kodesh for a couple of months because he needed a place to keep it. I said, with pleasure. And we have it's a special safe. And he took the Torah to Siberia. Now, believe me, he could have, according to Rabbi Teitz, he could have taken a Torah from Moscow. Well, they had plenty of shuls, and they have a massive shul there. But it's unbelievable. Look at the Rebbe's view. Look at the Rebbe's out-of-the-box thinking. It's unbelievable. Look at his positive approach, upbeat answer. And wow, the Rebbe has a vision, had a vision then, and it doesn't stop. The vision is that even though, unfortunately, it was a difficult situation and oppressed by the communists, but there's going to be so much there. Today there are over 400 shluchim in the former USSR. That's unbelievable. Just in the Moscow area, I think there are over 100. These are numbers that are unimaginable. Who would dream? Excuse me for saying this. Who has the chutzpah to even dream like this? Really, it takes a certain personality to even suggest such a thing. And that's the Rebbe's unbelievable. It's so inspiring because that's the Rebbe's vision. That of course we hope and we pray every moment that Mashiach should come this second, if not a moment earlier. But Kol Zman, all the time that Mashiach did not come yet, let's make the best of what we have. Let's build all the shuls, including, it's another subject, but it's a similar concept. Crown Heights could have become total African American. I spoke to the head of the Borsellino store. He passed away maybe a couple of, I think last year. But he used to have a massive store. He brought the Rebbe's hat. I forgot his name. And he told me that he remembers the first time a Jew sold his house to an African American. And he said that unfortunately the Crown Heights, which used to be all kinds of Hasidus, all kinds of, not just Chabad, but people started moving away. But the Rebbe was very strong to keep the shuls. I know people that walked an hour, even when they were elderly, they could barely walk, but the Rebbe wanted them to keep the minyanim alive, that barely 8-9 people scraping together a minyan. But as a shul, we keep it alive. And the Rebbe would send Chabadnikim to go and help other shuls to build them up, on Simchas Torah, to go dance with other shuls to make everybody happy. Because that's the Rebbe's view. Rebbe's view is that every shul is holy, every home is holy, every shul should be built up and should be encouraged to bring more kedusha, more shiurim, more davening, more simcha, more farbrengens, and that's the best way to bring Mashiach, and then we'll all be connected to the ultimate third Beit HaMikdash.
Amen.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was the first introduction class to this amazing subject. Please spread the word. We have a lot more copies. I'm happy to make more of this. Feel free to write your names on top and bring it with you next week.